I think that's the goal at this point. If they're playing us to get their comment read, wow, I'm impressed.
Well
I sure am impressed. All right, let's move on and talk about something that is related to a video game.
That's right. You guys, I feel like there's a lot of new people in the chat that are like, wow, bad first impression. Stop talking about Reddit. Talk about the game. Why aren't you talking about the game? Blah, 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 blah. So fine. We're going to talk about a game. Now, Callie, this discussion was actually started by you or presented to us by you.
Yeah, all right, so this game...
Why do you gotta sigh when you're going into it?
Because I was so angry, and it was something I had to talk about.
It.
I'm selling it with how upset I am over it, all right? So I was talking with my cousin the other day, and he's playing World of Warcraft right now, and he decided to tell me all the things coming out in his next patch.
Wait, so we're going to talk about World of Warcraft on a Final Fantasy XIV show?
Well, in comparison sense, sure.
Oh God, help us! I can hear Reddit now. I can hear the collective of Reddit right now, and the amount of hatred that they're going to be sending our way. And the thing is that
we're about to get it in our chat. Just hold on.
And the thing is that, like, at the end of the day, no one's going to even remember, Ascalia, that you were the one that brought this topic up. All the focus is going to be on Nero comes back and all he wants to do is talk about WoW.
Which, by the way, Nero hasn't played WoW since vanilla?
2006, at least.
Wow.
I mean, neither have I. I'm just saying I was being updated on what's coming out in their upcoming patch. And I sat there thinking to myself, wow, I wish I could get a patch like that in Final Fantasy XIV because it's way better than any of the bullshit that I get.
That's depressing.
You want to tell us what's supposed to be coming in this next patch?
Sure thing. All right. So this is for World of Warcraft patch 7.3.
That's right. Make me remember what an MMO patch is supposed to be like.
Okay. We have, first of all, we have 3 brand new zones coming out in the game.
Like little mini things, like a Quapolis.
No, like new zones.
On a patch?
On a patch.
On a patch?
3 of them. 3 new zones.
Get the fuck out of here.
We have Crocune.
No, you're lying. I don't believe that. There's no game that adds zones on a fucking patch.
Not real ones, like little mini ones.
Yeah, like an instant zone, right?
Dragon's Airy, a zone.
3 new zones. We're going to a new planet. They're leaving Azeroth. They're going to a new planet.
Okay, the new planet I could probably do without. But
who cares?
New zones.
3 new zones. Crocune, the main surface of the planet. Getting there involves taking a boat from your faction's capital to the Exodar and then flying over there.
Oh, they finally fixed that thing?
Did they?
Was it broken?
Exodar,
I assume.
The Exodar was the crashed escape ship that came from Eridar to Azeroth.
The Makari, which is
the McCree?
Stop it.
Makari.
Oh.
Makari. A civilized area within the ruins of the old Draenei civilization, and in Thoris Waste, where all the Legion ships are docked. Not a nice place to go. There are 3 new zones.
Wow, this is even better than I imagined.
In addition, they're getting a new raid.
Again, and I already see our chat lighting up with, well, WoW's a fucking pile of shit. WoW sucks. I don't understand. Why would you? Because compare the two.
I'm comparing the content that is coming out. Now you're right. Because if you don't like WoW, it doesn't actually matter to you.
And here's the thing: is that we've seen a lot of other comparisons done. For example, a couple of months ago, there was this big kind of either factoid or video that was circulating about how big the FF14 development is comparative to WoW's FF14 development team, and they're about the same size.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Each of these new zones, by the way, includes new quests, new story, and world bosses.
I would actually, really quick, just for people who aren't familiar with WoW, I would like to sort of give you an idea of how monumental these 3 zones are.
Please contextualize this.
Yes. All right.
Oop. You also talked about Legion this time last year. You're recycling content like FF14.
Hey, get the fuck out. You can't prove that.
No, I think that's fair.
I think that's a fair criticism.
It's also hilarious.
We can talk about WoW once a year.
It's hilarious. Yes.
What fucking crystal ball are you looking into?
Oh my gosh.
I knew when I added those drops, like, these are going to be really situational. But man, when the situation arises, it's going to be so sweet.
Good, so good. All right, so yes, let me contextualize it. So basically, the heroes of Azeroth are going to Eridar, where the Burning Legion has been trying to invade Azeroth and subjugate us. So essentially, what this would be the equivalent of is if in the middle of a patch, Square Enix is like, guess what, guys? You're fucking taking the fight to Garlemald now. 3 new zones that are in Garlean territory. You're gonna fuck them up. Major lore implications, major MSQ, raid bosses that have to do with the actual lore. Fuck them up, guys.
And we'd lose our minds collectively.
Yeah, that's
do you want to know what that LBR show would be like? You know how happy we would be?
We'd all be dying from the giant boners that we have.
That's right. No, we
You're
would
right.
not-
There actually wouldn't be an LBR episode. We'd be in a coma.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to circulate blood to our brains because it would all be going to our penises. So
Penis joke.
And this isn't something that just randomly came in the middle of a WoW patch. This expansion has been building up to it.
see, now that's impressive, especially because, I think a lot of what didn't attract me about WoW was the fact that I didn't feel like and granted this is all the way back in vanilla, but I didn't feel like I was being told like a tangible story, right?
That's fair. In the early days, it was not good at that. One of the things that really struck me when I was first playing Legion when it came out was they actually introduced when you collect all these weird artifact thingies. You collect this piece of a Naryu, I think it was, and you get a vision of this character that up until now, everyone thought was dead all the way back to like Warcraft 2 or something like this.
Oh, wow.
And now it's like, holy shit, that guy's not dead. We know nothing about him, and now suddenly he's back, and it was a big deal. I forget who his name was. I think it was one of like the original king or leader on Eridar.
Yeah, that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and at some point they were rolling in plot points from like the older Warcraft games and making some of those pay off in World of Warcraft.
Definitely.
True
Yeah.
Lion.
That's who it is.
Wasn't the
Thank you,
whole thing
Cecil.
with Arthas originally? Like that was a plot point paying off from Warcraft 3, wasn't it?
Sure was. Yep.
Yeah, the whole Wrath of Lich King expansion.
So in terms and again, like at least what I had played of WoW or what I remember of WoW, I remember a lot of quests that felt very disconnected.
Yes.
And there
The fetch quest, the kill quest.
Yes,
Yeah, I remember
exactly.
that.
Bring X amount of pelts back. And it didn't feel like it felt very much like, one of the aspects that I love about MMOs is having a world that feels larger than you, that you're just sort of plunked down and you feel like a cog in the machine, at least for a little bit, right?
FF11 did that very well.
FF11 was, oh
Did
my
that
God,
forever.
so good at that, right? But
Turn 14 into 11.
yeah. But the thing is that, immediately when you put a heavy narrative onto the story, it kind of locks you into feeling like your character is the savior. I mean, warrior of light. You know what I mean? Like that whole pervading idea that everything revolves around the player does. Now, I think after 3 expansions, I think that starts to wear a little bit thin, because if you wanted to take the player character and you wanted to insert them in a way where they started to feel small, that becomes very difficult to do. They tried to do that in parts when we went over to Author. And what it felt like was that, but
You kind of you start out that way, but now everyone's heard about you, so you're just back to being the warrior of light.
Exactly, right. Like they don't play with that idea long enough for it to be satisfying in any way, because
Right.
you start making a name for yourself
Almost immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that in the early parts of WoW that I really liked, but I did not feel like I was being guided through a narrative. I felt like I was being guided through certain zones by what the difficulty of the quests and the mobs were, as opposed to a direct story reason forcing me to go to the next zone, which is where we're at with Stormblood. I mean, you get a hard lockout of where you can go to your next zone until you get to the arbitrary level requirement, right? Like, am I crazy, or was there a day when you could just get level 1 on something and run wherever the fuck in the world before you would die that you can get, right? Like,
Yeah, well, that was very, I mean, WoW actually did that real good. Like, let's go level 1 and try and raid the Alliance capital.
Sure,
see how close you get.
Level 1 runs from one of the city-states to Juneau, right?
Yeah.
In FF11,
All
right?
the races.
Yeah.
It actually took skill because of the way that things detected you.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And how good were you at trying to get someone else aggroed?
But now the way that we're taken to zones and that we're allowed to explore the maps is very much a guided experience
They
according
hold
to
your
the
hand
level and the narrative.
entire way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, annoying. Like, I think that is
It's like we're
very
playing Pokemon.
like it's a really effective way to do. I think it was done to very good effect with something like FF15, right? Like, that was a story that I was like, I don't know how they're going to execute the whole like Final Fantasy feel and having it be open world at the same time. And I think that they did that very well through gated story content, right? Like, you have to clear a certain mission to be able to get the next leg to unlock. They did that pretty okay in FF15, but the same sort of idea is being applied in 14, and I guess it took to getting to Stormblood before I really realized how much of a role that was playing and how much I disliked that in a game and in a world that's supposed to be open world.
Right. Well, I mean, Yoshi so often calls it a theme park, and like it's an on rails MMO is what it is.
It kind of is.
Like,
yes.
do you remember like that one Resident Evil game where instead of like being able to walk around, it was just a rail shooter? This is kind of a rail MMO.
Well, and when you think of a theme park, you start at one area, right? And then you walk through in a way so you see everything like on your way through. And you're right. That's exactly what the quest structure feels like. It takes you through bit by bit by bit. And you can go out and like explore and open up the map, but you still have to go back. And even as you're completing the quest, okay, now these side quests are opened up. Now these side quests are opened up. It's definitely just one big paint by number.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think WoW did a lot of that early on too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like literally, it just was instead of MSQ driving you from point to point to point, it was these are the quests that are my level, and that guides you from point to point to point.
Wasn't early on really in MSQ for WoW either.
My experience with the MSQ and WoW was cool. That scene at the Wrathgate was awesome.
Okay,
and that was like the first like major thing I saw.
Right, and that is like probably the earliest incarnation of when they started sort of doing an MSQ-like thing.
Yeah.
But if you go back to vanilla, I don't think there was really anything outside of small quest lines, and even in the Burning Crusade, unless you were raiding, there wasn't really much of an MSQ going on either. Yeah.
So let's go back to our phone lines.